InsideThunder.com. Powered by Wheeler Whitlock Insurance.
This is probably the longest team in the league that we're facing, and we are continuing to try to throw passes over the top of their outstretched arms. It's probably not a great idea. So 21 turnovers, many of them unforced. And then, of course, they're taking care of business on the boards. And, we're forcing stops, we're getting stops, but we're not going and getting the ball. And we have to be able to chase down loose balls and long rebounds. And otherwise, they're getting just way too many possessions compared to us.
Coach Michael Kinney, they had an overwhelming advantage on the free throw line. Was that just them being more aggressive, or just your defense playing a little bit more with hands instead of their feet?
We did commit some silly fouls tonight, but also they were very aggressive.
You guys really kind of kept Andre Robertson in check in the first couple games. They've kind of switched their scheme, has him as a power forward roller. Why has he been able to get loose, a career high 17 tonight? Well,
he's a pretty active player, so he got some offensive boards, and he snuck behind our defense a couple times, and we did not guard him correctly. And he snuck behind for a couple layups in the first half. I think another one in the third quarter. So. Those hurt, but he played a really good game, so give him credit.
Dean Blevins, CBS Oklahoma City, had the same question, but I'll ask you about Steph, because not the Steph that we're used to seeing, and I wondered if there was anything other than just not shooting it well tonight, Steve, or is injury issue, or is...
he's not injured. He's coming back from the knee, but he's not injured. He just had a lousy night. It happens, and even to the best players in the world. So, tough night for Steph, and he'll bounce back.
Coach, the mobility, another Steph question. The mobility from him just wasn't the same, and he was missing shots tonight in the paint, missing in the restricted area. How much did the length from that Thunder team hurt him tonight?
Hurt who?
Hurt Steph.
Oh, Steph. Their length is impressive, at every position. And so, some of the open shots that we're used to getting, they're not quite as open. And so they did a great job defensively. We did have some open ones that we missed, but I give them credit.
Hey, Steve, Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoman. Russell Westbrook, triple-double tonight. But what about his performance tonight troubles you most? What do you guys most need to turn around to negate some of what he's doing out there?
Well, we're trying to keep him out of the paint and keep him, out of transition. So when you have 21 turnovers, it's going to be pretty hard to guard Russell. So we got to take care of the ball better, and that will help our defense.
Barry Trammell with the Oklahoman. Draymond seemed out of sync, especially early. A lot of turnovers, unforced errors. Was he? You think the last 2 days affected him any, or was he just not into the game?
Just wasn't a good game for him, and he's had a couple in a row, and that's very rare. Normally, when Draymond has a bad game, he bounces back and plays extremely well the next game. So, a couple bad ones in a row. He's got to bounce back. We all have to bounce back. And the good news is we go home. Obviously, we play well at home. The idea now is to go home and get one win. And do that, we put some pressure on them, and we see what happens.
Hey, Steve, Phil Barber, Santa Rosa Press Democrat. How gratifying was it before things got away to see Clay step up again? Flip side of that, how much did his foul trouble hurt your team tonight?
Yeah, Clay was tremendous. He almost single-handedly got us back in the game in the third quarter. The fouls did hurt, but that wasn't the determining factor. Obviously, we had to get him out, but there were other issues that were a lot bigger than that.
Just two questions, a quick follow-up. Did you think about keeping Clay in the game there? He's scalding hot. You're narrowing the lead and keep him in despite he's got the 4 fouls.
We debated whether to take Steph or Clay out. We had to take one of them out. We're not going to play them both 48 minutes, so we usually stagger them. So we debated, but given that Clay had 4 fouls and the game was actually, we had it in a manageable spot. I think we were down 8 or 10 when we took him out. We just figured with his 4 fouls, it made more sense to take him out. He looked a little bit tired, and then we brought him back to start the 4th. So that was our decision, but it was something we debated.
And Steve, I'm sorry, another one. Do you think your guys are feeling any extra weight, the 73 wins, back, going for back-to-back? And do you want them to feel that there's a responsibility to be the team everybody talked about all season?
No, I don't think that's the case. To me, they're 2 separate issues. We had a tremendous regular season. Our guys competed every single night and did something nobody's ever done before, and they're proud of that. But the playoffs, everybody starts 0-0, so there's no extra pressure. Whether you're talking about defending our title or trying to back up the regular season, whatever, it's just you just try to win. And everybody, when you get deep in the playoffs, everybody's good. And this team is outplaying us right now, and we've got to come up with some answers. And it's as simple as that.
Brian Brinkley, KFOR TV. Coach, your team hasn't faced a whole lot of adversity the last 2 seasons. This has been as bad as it's been. How do you get a feeling on how your team will respond here down 3-1?
Yeah, I think we'll respond well. Like I said, we go home, lick our wounds a little bit, and we play very well at home, and the idea is just to take it a step at a time. So we'll bounce back. We'll play much better in Game 5, and we'll see where it all goes.
Fred Katz, Norman Transcript. You guys, are usually the team that's able to go small and get out running, and the Thunder have kind of found a lot of success doing that. They had a lot of success in Game 3. What is it that enabled them to find success just getting out running against you guys?
They have really good players.
Well, I thought it was a hard-fought game by both teams. There were some runs that went back and forth in the first half, and I thought we closed the first half out very well. And they're too good of a team. They're going to make a run. I was kind of really proud of the way the guys just kind of hung in there through some of it. We had some ups and downs. We kept battling and fighting. I thought we defended as hard as we could for 48 minutes. Obviously Thompson there in that third quarter got going and made some tough shots. But overall, I thought we kept battling and fighting, and we weathered some storms and manufactured some offense and got some stops and got out on the break. So, overall, it was I thought our guys did a really, really good job tonight.
Coach, Nate Duncan from the Cauldron. When you played small before in these playoffs, especially in the San Antonio series, it didn't really work. Same thing, first 2 games. What made you think going into Game 3 that would work and that it was something that you guys should emphasize?
Well, one of the things, it's not necessarily about, what is or is not going to work. It's more about you got to put things out there sometimes, based on teams. You've got to be willing, I think, to take some risks and do that. And I've said this before, you start looking at numbers all the time from the year, and it's over 82 games, and it's against a lot of different teams. Sometimes you got to look and evaluate what's going on inside the series you're playing against. So, why were the numbers bad? And was there any way, with adjustments, could we make those numbers better? And our guys have done a good job where we've been able to move around and be pretty versatile with our roster and play guys in different roles and in different positions. And I think that's a strength of our team.
Coach Michael Kinney, can you just talk about or describe just the mentality and attitude Russell Westbrook has been playing with in these playoffs? What's been the overwhelming factor that you've seen him play with?
Russell, just plays with incredible passion. He's got such great force and great will, and he's also really, really a high basketball IQ player. He sees a lot of things going on out there. Just his effort and his energy, throughout the course of the entire game, even with our team, was terrific. But, as a coach, you sit there and you have great respect and admiration for somebody that plays that hard and gives to the game and to his teammates what he gives.
Fred Katz, Norman Transcript, Coach to your left. You guys, along with those small lineups, have done a particularly good job pushing the ball as well. Is that something that's a mentality that's hard to, Steven Adams said it's hard to stay locked in for 48 minutes straight. Is that something where it's tough to stay locked in for those 48 minutes? And if so, how do you keep that up in a Western Conference Finals type atmosphere?
Yeah, I think what happens is you've got to build up stamina for that. And I think you have to have stamina to be able to concentrate and focus and then physically do what these guys do. The way they're laying their bodies on the line, the whole team, the way they're physically competing. Golden State's a hard team to guard, and they're very, very good, and they obviously give you a lot of cutting, moving, and passing, and same thing with San Antonio. And our guys continually, I think, as time goes on, to try to get a little bit better and a little bit better defensively. But they're giving great effort, the entire team, in terms of trying to concentrate and focus on the things within the game plan. And to Steven's point, that's hard to do, especially when fatigue sets in and then you're having to play offense. There's a lot going on to maintain that level of concentration.
Dean Blevins, News 9 Sports in Oklahoma City. You lost the first game to the Spurs by, 32 points or so. What have you done? I mean, does it surprise you, Coach, that you've been able to, you're on the brink now of doing something really special in back-to-back series? Are you surprised coming off of that start?
I think it's more of a reflection on the guys in the locker room, to be honest with you. I think it has a lot to do with Russell and Kevin's confidence, and I think that trickles down into our team. They are able to put things in great perspective, coming off of setbacks. And the one thing about the both of them is that when there is a setback, their ability to bounce back. And they don't wallow in it. They don't have pity parties. They come back and go to work and try to inject who they are into our team. And I think it really helps our team come back and concentrate and try to get better and improve, off of maybe a setback. So we're playing against really good teams, and you're not going to always have a perfect game, and you're not going to play perfectly. And you've got to have some resiliency and some toughness and some fight to you. And I think our team has it. So really, it's more of a it really has a lot more to do with the guys in the locker room and the character of the locker room and the kind of guys that are in the locker room.
You're at 107.7 The Franchise in Oklahoma City. Billy, you found a hole in defense with Andre Robertson offensively for you. It seems to have widened. The adjustment hasn't been made, or you're going to him more often, or he's becoming more entrenched in this offensive scheme that you have against Golden State. Would you talk about why that's taking place and what you've seen to allow that to take place?
Well, it's funny. I mean, like after, game 2, people are saying to me, is this guy going to even play anymore? And, Andre's a good basketball player, and I think sometimes the things that go missing with him is he makes winning plays, and he's a winning player. There's a lot of things he can do. He offensive rebounds, he slashes to the basket. I have confidence in him shooting the basketball. He's a great worker. I think Kevin and Nick and Serge and Russell do a great job giving him confidence. But there's some things that we can do with him, where we can put him in different roles and in different situations and put him in different screening actions and different cutting actions, where he can be effective and he can be useful. And I'm just happy for him because he's really put the time in. He missed some free throws today, but, he'll be the first guy in the gym tomorrow working on that. But he generated a lot of offense for us, to your point, on rolls to the basket, on back cuts, on offensive rebounds, on just being a winning player. And I'm happy for him because Andre is a great teammate. He's an unselfish guy, and he's a guy that's trying to make winning plays as best he can.
Nick Gallo, OKCThunder.com. Billy, this is now 2 straight games you guys have scored 72 points in the first half. Hasn't been done since 1987 in the postseason. Any maybe recipe for these hot starts that you guys have gotten out to and why you've been able to keep your offense varied?
The only thing that I try to, and I've said this about, our team, and in particular Russell and Kevin, they're willing passers, and they're willing to move and share the basketball. And when we can play downhill and we can extra pass it and we can move it from side to side, we become efficient because we can offensive rebound. We've got good shooting. The attention that Russell and Kevin get while they're being willing passers, they generate offense for other guys inside of our team. I think it's just a matter of those guys just, really playing the right way, how they play. I mean, there's, again, Russell and Kevin in particular, they're such terrific offensive players, but I think sometimes the thing that gets lost on both of them, in my opinion, is how unselfish they are and how willing they are. Now, there's times that, they're going to go in there and try to create and take a shot or do things, and they should, but more often than not, they're looking to make the right play. And two guys at that level they are at offensively, it's a joy for me to be around guys like that every day, to see them share the ball the way they try to.
Billy, Michelle Steele, ESPN. It's the second straight game where Steph Curry simply has not looked like himself. What has your defense done so effectively to neutralize him?
I've said this before. Perfect example. I got asked that, after Game 3 about Klay Thompson and Steph, and you saw what Klay did in that third quarter. I mean, he made some unbelievable shots that were contested. I thought in, Game 3, he missed some shots that were better looks than he had tonight. Listen, the people around the league have seen these two guys shoot the ball at an incredible rate. We're working as hard as we can to try to contest and make it difficult as best we can, but we also know that these guys are two great, tough shot makers, and you can play really good defense against them, and they still may make the shot. So I don't want to sit there and say that we're doing this unbelievable defensive job, because at the same point, those guys are so good shooting and so good offensively that any moment they can make and go on a run like a guy like Klay did in the third quarter.
Barry Trammell with the Oklahoman. Billy, the Draymond Green had a rough night from the start. A lot of careless turnovers, didn't get much done. Your guys seemed to handle the emotions of the last 2 days fairly well. Were you worried about that? Did you take any steps to try to make sure nothing would happen, or how'd you see all that play out?
Well, one is I think we got a good group of guys in the locker room, and I appreciate as a coach them staying focused on what we could control. And I think all the guys on the team knew that, coming out of Game 3 with those events, that those decisions had nothing to do with us. Those were league decisions, and we needed to focus and concentrate on what we could control. And I felt like in shoot-around and in practice yesterday, shoot-around today, our guys were pretty focused on the things that we needed to try to improve and get better at.
Hey, Billy, Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoman. The way Russ plays, you mentioned that speed and getting downhill. The impact of that, it just really seems like the ball movement and the offensive flow. Has he found something that he's been able to exploit and really elevate the offense even more for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, again, when his speed, his quickness, his athleticism, he's explosive going to the basket. I thought he made a couple great passes early in the third quarter, and we had some plays around the basket we didn't finish, but he really made the right read. Again, I think in transition, getting out and finding people when he can't get to the rim himself. The second and third effort to offensive and defensive rebound. And plus to absorb the amount of minutes he absorbs and to put his body on the line like he does. I have great. Listen, I played the game, not that level. I know how physically taxing and demanding that is to do what he does under the minutes that he does. And the same thing with Kevin. Those guys are obviously being game planned against, and they're having to play defense, and they're having to generate shots, and they're having to create. I think the physical stamina, concentration, and ability of not only Russell but Kevin to night after night play and try to play at that incredible level is really, really remarkable. And you're never going to, with either one of those two guys, ever say anything about their effort, because their effort's always phenomenal.